What if I told you that there is an RPG out right now that only costs about $29 that could give you a lot of the same feelings of playing Skyrim or Morrowind or Oblivion? Well, Tainted Grail: Fall of Avalon is an indie-developed RPG that has all the hallmarks of an Elder Scrolls game, just with, you know, fewer bugs. Excuse me? I'm using this one?
Yeah! Yeah! How about you? Yeah! Yeah! One day I'll have my own sword.
The fuck is... Okay, I'm just gonna leave. Oh, and it also has this really cool, kind of weird, like, creepy thing. This spreading darkness that seems really interesting. I kind of wonder what's in it. But that's just something you have to wait to see, because we got to get into what this game actually is before we go into too many details. Developed by Awakened Realms, the game is very clear about what it is in the Steam description. The game does not aim to have AAA level graphics or polish. The irony here is that outside of some character models and some physics, I would say they're actually getting a lot closer to AAA than what they think. At least especially in the graphics department, because this game can be pretty damn beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong though, this game still has plenty of roughness, like for example, some issues with physics throughout the game, and some really big issues with horse riding, of all things. All right, we have a horse, no more walking around for us. All right, turn, that's a wall, turn. Oh God, it's a wall, go. Fuck. But the world looks beautiful, especially these shots with the sun rising. It feels full and handcrafted. Armor and weapons look great, and these buildings really sell the setting. A dark reimagining of Arthurian legends. It's a first-person action RPG with engaging combat, a branching storyline, and meaningful choices. Currently in early access, this game includes the tutorial and the first chapter, something they estimate to take about 10 to 15 hours. But me being very slow when I play my games, I've put in about 10 hours on this game, and I don't think I'm anywhere close to finishing what they have on offer. And part of that is because even as I've been playing, I don't think I've ever really felt super engaged in the story. I didn't feel like a pull to actually like find out what the hell is going on with the main quest. I did find some of the side quests to be interesting, but most of what I found to be good about this game existed outside of the main story. Like delving into crypts and picking fights with creatures and bandits alike, and often losing those fights. As you enter the world of Avalon, you begin the unraveling of a mystery, the death of King Arthur. Bit by bit, you start to figure out pieces. You gain a little bit more understanding, quickly coming into contact with the mighty Excalibur. The longer you adventure, the more the world opens up to you, finding quests in hidden places you wouldn't expect, and some where you have to make conscious decisions about how to turn on the outcome of the quest. It also includes the freedom you expect in a game like this. Yes, you can accidentally attack the quest giver and thus ruin everything, and that's totally not something that I ever did because I never make mistakes in games. Ever.
So I'll take it myself.
The main story quest carries you through the world, taking you from location to location as you try to get a long-awaited meeting to unravel what the hell is going on, and find lots of roadblocks at every turn. You feel like you're about to get close to that meeting, and then of course there's something else that you have to do. I didn't find myself getting sucked into the main story. The side quests were okay, but even then, I didn't really get, really invested. I didn't really care that much about any of the side characters. And that's not to say that this is poorly done. Like, for example, I love this little section here where you interact with a drunk guard who then gets put in the stocks and gets mad at you, for example. I just didn't feel pulled the way I have recently in a lot of CRPGs that really put the writing at the forefront, that focus so heavily on creating compelling stories, compelling companion characters, and much more. And perhaps that is more of a function of the genre itself, the subgenre within the RPG genre. Because I'll be honest with you here, I didn't get that invested in Skyrim either. I enjoyed the hell out of Skyrim, and for a long time, it was my most played RPG. I enjoyed it for reasons that had very little to do with the story. I couldn't really tell you much about the story except Fus Ro Dah at this point. What I have experienced and enjoyed though is a very solid game that is well worth its current $29 price tag. A price tag they do warn will go up once the game is out of early access. The systems in game will be immediately familiar to anyone who's played a first-person RPG like this. Magic, dual-wielding, two-handed weapons, and swapping between them are all in game. And I really can't highlight enough the two things that I loved most about playing this game were the combat and the beauty of the world and exploration going hand in hand with that. Weaving in and out of combat, screwing it up by hitting your big ass sword on the wall instead of the enemy's head, getting a nicely timed parry, which does seem to be fairly easy or fairly forgiving because I'm able to do it. And that's not usual. And then after all of that, swapping into your heal spell or summoning some wolves to go attack things. The combat is so much fun, it makes you just want to go do that, to go find places to pick fights. I think the highlight for me was delving into a crypt and uncovering a necromancer. And I hope this is something they really have a lot of when it fully releases. Exploration that leads to combat. These seemingly optional dungeons and events. And not to keep comparing it, but that's also what I really liked about Skyrim. The ability to go just go out and find my adventure beyond the main story. Find places that will need my help or that I could uncover new and interesting things. That is something I think that they can still work on a little bit in Fall of Avalon to add more of that in game. And I do hope they have the ability to, although it is, and to be fair to them, it is a small studio. Beyond all of this, the game includes pretty standard fare crafting, item usage, full voiceovers, which are pretty damn good, lockpicking, great music, and horse riding. Horse riding is one of the newest things, and it is rough. I think it's the most rough part of the game, and as such, I've almost completely avoided it since I tried it. In its current state, it almost feels like a net negative. It feels a bit like tank controls, more than any other part of the game. But being that it is so new, I'm sure they'll be refining it over the early access period. But I also don't really know that it's necessary. The game world is large, but not ridiculously so. They already have fast travel, so it kind of makes the horse riding kind of unnecessary. I think they could get away with not including it at all. In fact, if there is somewhere else that I'd rather see this small, passionate dev team put their time, it'd be on seeing about refining the physics in combat and movement, adding the ability to hurdle or climb up small ledges. Continuing to refine the sound effects would be good too. It's not that they're bad, just that I think that they can be improved with more distant sounds, more ambient noises like crows or wind or footsteps, ominous noises, just to add to the atmosphere. Or if I can get really hopeful here and add something that would just be like a dream come true for this game, because it adds so much immersion to me whether I'm playing an RPG or an MMO, weather. weather like rainstorms and fog and just things that are happening. To borrow from a different AAA game, the weather in Witcher 3 was top notch. Just the wind blowing through the trees, adding it all feel a bit more ominous. It makes the world come alive, and it's exciting seeing the same place under different lighting, different weather. But if you have an extra $29 laying around and you like the Skyrim type first-person RPGs with freedom and satisfying combat, Tainted Grail: Fall of Avalon is one of the best indie RPGs I've played in some time. It's a very good AA RPG experience at this stage, and as I've played it on and off for about a year, it's only gotten better. It even seems to be improving graphically. At least their lighting systems and the screenshots they posted in their January update look freaking awesome. They've also shown an improvement in their characters and NPC models in the January update, something that I think was really necessary, though I wish they would add a little bit more variety because there's quite a few NPCs that have the exact same face. I'm excited to see what comes from this game as it journeys towards its 1.0 release and see what else they have to offer. But I've enjoyed it so far, and again, I kind of feel like it's just a value RPG at this point. My name is Redbeard Flynn, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you... Well, shit, I almost forgot this. I almost forgot that we were going to explore this really creepy looking darkness, this area of the game that just kind of creeps towards you bit by bit, very slowly. Seems like something you really shouldn't go in and touch. Seems like something that might be, you know, a little bit deadly. But, you know, curiosity killed the cat, and I guess maybe I'm a cat. I don't know. But that would be spoilers. So if you really want to find out what's in there, you're going to have to go see it yourself when you play Fall of Avalon. I hope you enjoyed this look at Fall of Avalon, but if you're looking for another RPG, one that is a bit more expansive than this and a bit more fantasy oriented than this, I actually covered everything we know so far about Avowed in this video right here. And granted, in that video, I was hopeful about them adding romances for their companions. They're not doing that because I guess it's hard. I don't know. But you can find out all the information in that video. Oh, this way. It's over here. I was going to point, it's over here. My name is Redbeard Flynn. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.